Hey folks, this is Gray, and today we're going to go over my April pantry haul. I haven't done one of these in a while, so stay tuned and let's see what we got. Alright, so in this pantry haul, I did things a bit different. So instead of running out to a store and kind of looking for the best sales that they had, and kind of like, just kind of hitting all the ones that I think that are the best things that I need to kind of restock. Because you'll see some a similar stuff that I've bought in the past, except this time I decided to go in a couple of different directions, and I'll explain why. But, and hopefully you folks like to hear someone ramble before they just jump right into the food haul, because I like to explain kind of what I have here and what's going on. I know you guys can't really see because it's kind of below me, and I'm going to apologize in advance about the lighting. It's a dark room, hence, it's a pantry. That being said, what I decided to do is approach specific businesses that I've made, kind of friends with, the managers, the grocery guys that kind of, do all the stuff. And I said, hey, is it cheaper for me to buy bulk from you guys, or do I have to go to like bulk stores, like your Costco's, your Sam's, your BJ's, and yada, yada, yada? Some of them gave me some really good insights on ways to kind of circumvent the normal hustle and bustle of a grocery store. So I made some deals with some of these guys, and they said, hey, well, if you want to place a couple orders, let me know. I'll add it to the truck, and then you can come pick it up, and I'll give you a message when it's ready. And I was like, all right, that's awesome. And I'm going to show you how some of the pricing worked out so much better than just going to a store and buying certain things, hence building relationships with some of your local grocers, especially if you're in a small town, which would be truly beneficial, because then you kind of like just have something to fall back on. And they kind of give you insights to when things are getting bad, basically. Let's say there's supply disruptions, or hey, there's a storm coming and people are just going crazy. They can kind of give you some insights. And like I said, building relationships is really key to a lot of this stuff in regards to emergency preparedness. Another question I've been asked a lot is in regards to Keystone Meats. It's something I discuss a lot just because I'm a big proponent of Keystone Meats, because they just have some of the best quality meats on the market in the canned goods kind of realm of things. And I was just going to stick them all on the table to make it look like I have all this stuff, but I decided to keep them in their boxes so that I can show you when Keystone ships to me how it looks and how well it's packed, and to show you that there's a big difference from buying from Walmart and online and Amazon, because 99% of the time you're going to get dented cans and it's just a big hassle. Now, let's make it clear, it is very expensive because you have to pay shipping cost because cans are very heavy, and if you do like I do and buy several cases at a time, it can be costly, hence why I only do it twice a year. But I buy enough to do that twice a year so that I make sure that I have enough to kind of get me through certain instances. So why am I buying? And you're probably going to see a lot of different things like carbs. People are like, oh no, you're buying too many carbs. This is not healthy stuff. Folks, we got to have to remember that some of the stuff that we buy in our pantry are short-term and long-term. And the long-term stuff, of course, gets processed into a different, let's say you take it out of the box, you put it in Mylar, and you kind of just follow these steps, which there's plenty of that on my video. And like, if you really want to see the entirety of my pantry, I did a video called Home Grocery Store, and I'll link it above. It'll pop up somewhere down here. I'll also link it down in the description so you can check that out. And it's just basically an entire tour of what I got going on here, because there's different sections of this pantry that I've never shown other in that video, kind of a whole comprehensive look of how I have my pantry set up and the way we do things here at my home. And like I said, some folks may say, you shouldn't probably show all this stuff on YouTube. And I'm like, well, why? This is just a specific little component of my life. People don't know how many other storage places I have, or how many friends and families or other things that go on beyond that. So that's kind of why I show this, because this is an educational thing to help folks kind of understand why food in this aspect of preparedness is very, very important. I'm getting ready to get into hurricane season. Hurricane season is always a 50-50 chance. And what I mean by that is sometimes we might get hit by a hurricane, sometimes we may not. And if you've ever noticed during any type of like natural disaster, a hurricane coming, a blizzard is coming, some sort of natural disaster is heading your way, you have some time to prepare, which you should already be prepared. The stores go empty, the cars are usually wrapped around the corner. There's just a big hodgepodge of a lot of crazy things going on. I've been watching food prices very carefully to kind of look at if these tariffs, this kind of back and forth with the tariffs, are going to affect food in general. And what I mean by food in general is a lot of people look at well, how is a tariff of something that's made in China or something that's made overseas or the UK or Canada going to affect food prices in general? Well, a lot of times, yes, the food may be produced here. I try to buy things that are, kind of locally sourced, like the Keystone Meats. But the thing is that sometimes the steel allocated to those cans, be it aluminum, steel, whatever they happen to be using to kind of enclose those products, plastic bags, cardboard, who knows where it comes from. Some of the stuff can be imported from other countries, and unfortunately, America's been kind of reliant on a lot of other countries for a long period of time. So something to be aware of, just to make sure to kind of shore up your pantry if you're concerned about what's going on in the geopolitical world of things. And like I said, there's always hills and valleys when it comes to everything. Sometimes there's a lot of bad and pain that comes first before the prosperity and the niceness comes. But it's always good to just be prepared in general. Last thing I want to add before we get into the actual kind of showing of what I got here and why I got the stuff that I got is I wanted to also say, if you have ever bought something and you want to see specific type of meals, like, hey, I saw that you got this in your food haul or prepper pantry haul, and I want to know how you use it to make specific meals for you and your family. I do have another video that I did a while back on using some, I forget what I used. It might have been beef or maybe it's pork. I used something in the Keystone family of things to kind of show one of those meals. It did okay. But if you want to see something like that, please put that down in the comments. And I always give you the power to basically say, I love to read my comments in my comment sections. I'm one of those guys that hopefully that I'll always be that very interactive person in my comment section to answer your questions, be it good or bad. Just try to be, polite when you're doing a comment. We don't really want to have, rude, nasty people down in the comment sections. Unfortunately, we have to, unfortunately give those people a boot. All right, folks, so enough of me rambling, as usual. We'll go ahead and get into the food haul, show you what I got. And again, like I said, there's videos if you're interested. And I do have a playlist of just pantry hauls, food storage, and techniques and stuff like that if you care to kind of learn some of that stuff like that. If you buy a lot of stuff in bulk and then you kind of want to like, well, I don't want to just stick it on a shelf, it's in a cardboard box. Is there a way to take it out of this and kind of make it last a lot longer than the best by date? All right, folks, so as you can see, we got several different things to go through across the board. Some things that'll look familiar to some folks and some things that might be new and older. So I guess we can start down here with the modern pantry. We drink a lot of this stuff, and usually this is where I'm talking about, like, talking to the Dollar General folks, or Dollar Tree, my apologies. Dollar Tree is where I usually pick this stuff up. Now you can go inside there and you can see what they have. Sometimes it'll be in stock, sometimes it won't. A lot of other folks like to buy this because it's the best shelf-stable milk that I've come across over the last probably 5 or 6 years that I've been doing this. And like I said, it's usually $1.25. If you order it online, it's also $1.25. Now here's the catch. They do have, like I said, the whole milk. They have 2%, 1%. The chocolate milk that someone said doesn't exist, but there you go. A whole bunch of that chocolate milk. My daughter, which just loves that stuff. We also use it for cooking and baking and a bunch of other stuff as well as drinking. But you can order online through Dollar General, and on their next truck, you can buy this by the case. And if you pick it up at the store, there is no shipping cost. It's for free. Now, maybe you don't have a Dollar Tree near you, and which would be weird, and oddball, but I mean, assuming that's a probability out there. And the biggest catch to that is of course, if you want to ship to your home, you would have to pay shipping, and then you got to trust whoever's shipping this to your home. So I like using a big, semi that comes and drops off the stuff at the store, because usually they keep it in pretty pristine condition majority of the time. But this is a restock because we've gone through so much of this, and yes, some of this stuff has been a couple of years old since it's been on our pantry. I've seen other people say they've had it up to 5 years past the best by date and no issues. Other folks that have issues, is always about the way you store your foods. Now, another thing that we use a lot of baking. I use it in my coffee. I use it for smoothies. I use it for just so many different things, is this cacao powder. And I probably say it wrong, and I'm pretty sure someone in the comments will let me know. The cacao powder. It is pure cacao. It's organic if that's what you care about. But I like to kind of do that because I want basically the best cacao powder that I can find that's not going to break the bank. And so far, Vivian Naturals has done that. And I can only find this on Amazon, and no other local stores have it. Now, if you can, because they have a lot of sales in this, you just got to keep an eye out for it, because these are the 1 pound bags, the first couple of them that I got right here. But I like to buy the 2 pound bags because you get a lot more bang for your buck out of the 2 pound bag. So at the time that I bought these, they didn't have the 2-pound bags, but I wanted to stock up on it, so I got 3 1-pounders, and then of course 3 days later the 2-pound bags were on sale, so of course then I picked those up. All right, so let's move to something that can be questionable for some but not for others, and here's what I'm saying. It's this case of mac and cheese. What I did is I made friends with the manager at Publix, and I said, hey, you know, I like to buy things in bulk, and I was just wondering what you would charge me if there was a possibility to kind of get it from you when you place your orders. He said, well, normally we don't do that, but, you know, you have people that work here, you've been coming to our store for long periods of time, let's see if we can work something out. So I literally got a case of this mac and cheese here, which... no, it's not healthy. No, it's not like the best thing to consume. But any pinch for calories and to get that stomach filled with food in a natural disaster, this can come in super handy. It's easy to put together. You know, boil it up with some water if you have the milk or butter and stuff like that. Throw it all together and you're good to go. I think it's powdered cheese. Now you can break this down and store it differently if you want to store it for long term. But another thing that I want to mention to you guys is I try to help my community. And what I mean by helping my community is if a hurricane happens to present itself, I like to have a lot of back stock because a warm meal goes a long way with building relationships in your community. So if you get a bunch of kids in your neighborhood, and handing them some mac and cheese when their house got torn down or something bad happened or they just didn't get the chance to get to the store, and you feed folks in your community with this big, huge bowl of just nice, hot mac and cheese, that's going to make you a star, and people are going to look to you as a kind person. And, you know, that's just how I look at it. Some people say, well, you shouldn't share your preps, but if things ever were to go in a true SHTF scenario, you're going to need some sort of form of community. I know some people they're going to do the lone wolf thing and all that stuff like that. I get it, but you know, to each his own. Just my thought process. Tuna was on sale. I caught this. I'm part of an online prepper group, and whenever this stuff goes on sale, they kind of post it and keep other people's posted. If some of you guys are curious, it's like a Telegram group. They post a lot of deals on there, and I think I paid I think it was like 22 cents a can for this. It was hugely discounted, and we can look at the date on there, 2027. So it's not like old stock or nothing like that. And why not, if you're going to buy some tuna, and outside of just eating it out of the can, which is probably the most nutritious way to eat stuff like that. Of course, there's different variations of tuna, like your albacore and stuff like that. Some people like it in oil, some people like it in water. You make your own decision on that. Like I said, what's right for me might not be for you, but right for someone else might be right for them, and yada, 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 how that goes. So anyways, I end up buying some tuna helper because, again, in the group, it was just dirt cheap. Usually you go to the store, these could be $2 or $3. These were down to 54 cents a piece, and I bought 2 cases of them. I'm thinking, what is it, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 in a case. And let me move my favorite coffee out the way. And there was 2, so I bought 2 cases just because it was that dirt cheap. And of course, whenever I go to the store, my local store, Winn-Dixie, Publix, Albertsons, anywhere where I can find the big bricks and they're on sale, these were BOGO. Buy one, get one free. So saved a ton of money there, and I just add to the stock. We have a ton of this stuff. And we just do first in, first out, you know what I mean? And just cycle through our foods. It just works well that way. And I just happened to catch that yesterday, matter of fact. It was a BOGO on that. So I went ahead and picked up a couple more bricks. I should have bought more, but it was kind of like I wasn't there for that. But I said, why not? I have, a lot more than people would assume of this type of coffee, because coffee in the apocalypse would be great. Then I came across something new that I wanted to show you guys. And folks, this thing, trying to find watermelon juice. Let's say it's the off season. Summertime's coming, everybody's gonna have watermelon, right? But to find watermelon juice in a actual can that I could store, what is the date on this anyways? Let's check it out. 2026, is that what it says there? Yeah. And to find watermelon juice is not packed with sugar and all kinds of nasty stuff in there. Let's kind of look at the ingredients on this thing. Ingredients, watermelon juice. Well, golly, who would have thought that there could actually be a company out there that just sells watermelon juice in a freaking can with no sugar additives, no any other crap in there, just watermelon juice, because I like watermelon juice, and sometimes watermelon's out of season and I want some. It's a refreshing drink. It has lots of different health benefits as well because of that red flesh inside the watermelon. All right, so let's kind of move on to some bread. Bread in a can. Milk in a box, bread in a can, right? So I showed you the regular brown bread in a can by B&M, and I decided to get some of the raisin bread on a recommendation from Rudy the Alaska Prepper. And folks, if you get this and you put some homemade butter on there and just warm it, it's so good. If you like raisins and brown bread, it just makes such a nice treat. It's just great, man. And during the wintertime, we had we used a lot of this stuff just on the cooler. We go out and sit by the fire, cut a couple slices of this, throw some nice homemade butter that we get from a farm here locally, and man, was it good. But yeah, because if not, you can freeze your bread and throw it in the freezer, but having a bread in the can is nice. And whenever I buy something, I already knew how good it was, so I just went ahead and bought a case. It's just always cheaper that way. I wanted to show you something in regards to Keystone, because a lot of people will see the bigger things. If you have a bigger family, it's probably smarter to buy this by the case. There's only 3 of us in our home. A lot of people ask that when I do these videos, how many people are in your family? There's 3 of us, the wife and my daughter. This is more than enough to feed us for a full meal, but half the time we're only cooking for 2 of us because either one of us is working or something of that nature. But I do get a lot of the bigger cans, so when we have company and family over and I need to throw a quick meal together, this helps. And again, they make a lot of different variations to that. You got your pork, you got your beef. This is like chip beef. It's not chip beef literally, but it's like beef. I don't know how else to explain it other than, one of these days do a video on how I make like pot roast sandwiches and whatnot out of this beef here. It's not pot roast, but it tastes close like it. The ground beef, which is one of my favorites. It just comes in handy to make so many things. And of course, the chicken. You want to make a big casserole or something like that, it just comes in handy. All right, so let's move over here to these cases. So the reason I left these in the boxes, there's 24 of each in these cans, and there's the 3. And in those 3, there's 24 of each meat. And that's the chicken, that's the turkey, and I'm almost positive this over here is going to be the ground beef. Now, why Keystone? And I'm pretty sure there's other companies out there, but I just had nothing but luck with Keystone personally. And I'll tell you why. Because when you look at the ingredients on Keystone, again, all there is beef and sea salt. Product of the USA. It's a small company out of Lima, Ohio. Hopefully I got that right. Usually people correct me. I said Lima, I think, one time. And maybe it's Lima, Ohio. I said Lima, Ohio. One way or another, it's out of Ohio, and they source locally from a lot of different local farms and whatnot to get their beef, their chicken, and stuff like that. So when you eat this stuff, you're at least supporting a good company that has a good reputation. And I did a whole video on Keystone because they got mixed up with a really horrible company. Not them, they didn't get mixed up with it, but their name got misconstrued with another company. Anyways, it's called Keystone Meats, not Keystone Foods. Keystone Meats. Just want to reiterate that. And as you can see up on the shelf there, I'm getting pretty low. I'm pretty much dang near almost out of the turkey up there. And I just like to keep it all the way stacked. So every 6 months I'll buy me a case of this stuff. It'd be nice to be sponsored, right, and get free food, but it just doesn't work that way with food. I don't know if food companies do that kind of stuff like that. But anyways, folks, that is kind of I don't know if you want to call this a little prepper pantry haul or a big prepper pantry haul. To some, it may be large or too much. To others, it may be not enough. But that's why, you create a home grocery store. Again, I'll link that video down in the description for the folks that want to see this and kind of see how I do, how I set up my pantry. I've also got pantry tips about canned goods and how to process foods and all that stuff like that. But that's going to go ahead and wrap this up. Let's go ahead and bounce back to me for a final thought and a word to you, my viewers. All right, folks, so that's going to do it for this April food pantry haul. If you like videos like this, please let me know down in the comments. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to kind of go and watch the videos. Like I said, there'll be playlists and other videos linked down in the description if you care to kind of learn a little bit more. And if you're a new subscriber, please let me know down below if you happen to come across this channel. Like, hey, I'm new here, because I'd like to welcome you to the channel. Outside of that, I hope that maybe something in this video you've never seen before, or maybe you were like, hey, you know, that's very interesting. I just like to get that feedback from you guys, the viewers, so I know how to kind of steer some of the things that I do down the road and answer questions in other videos that kind of follow up videos like this. And as always, if you got any value at all, entertainment-wise or just educational-wise, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you're new here, take a chance, subscribe, check out the rest of the channel, as well as the playlist. And remember, folks, you are not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys in the rebound. God bless all you amazing people out there. Again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video.